This video is for educational and entertainment only. My goal is to inform others about the true horrors of manufacturing, selling, and being addicted to methamphetamines for over 20 years, and only getting caught once 5 years ago. I've been clean from all substances ever since that day. I cannot confirm or deny that any of these stories ever happened or that I have made over 25,000 drug deals since the mid-90s. Maybe I'm just a guy with a very good imagination who can make up incredible stories with amazing continuity throughout many dates and timelines. It took me 5 years for me to get a clear head in order to even think about these stories without them triggering me or urging me to return to the life I led for so many years. By viewing the contents of this video or any other video of mine, you agree to not attempt or recreate anything seen or heard while viewing them. I am not confessing to any acts stated in this video. The contents of this video should not be treated as factual or a confession. All names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Enjoy.
Hello, everybody. I'm back to tell you a story. I know the last episode I mentioned getting meth from the plumbers was the only way to do it when I first started using meth. I had a friend. His name was Dan, and Dan would come up to the bike shop almost every day. He only lived a few blocks away. I've known him since 7th grade. He had just gotten a job as an apprentice plumber, which basically means that he worked 8 to 10 hours a day. He got pretty good pay, but then every Wednesday and Friday night, they would have school. They'd have to go to class for part of their apprenticeship. And he just got the job, and one day he comes over and he tells me that the whole fucking crew is on meth. And I said, "What do you mean everybody's on meth?" He said, "Everybody. The whole fucking crew is on meth, and I don't know where they're getting it from, but I think they're getting it from the boss." So I asked him, "Well, can you get any from him?" So the thing is this. My buddy Dan knew they were on meth because he uses meth. But they didn't know that he used meth, so they didn't suspect him of suspecting them. But as time went on, they got to know each other, and sooner or later someone asked him if he did meth, and next thing you know, he's getting meth from the boss. The thing is, I could only get some from him on Wednesdays and Fridays when he went to class. I could either give him the money before he went to class, and I could meet him on their break, or I could give him money, and then he would come home and come over after class and give me the meth then. And this went on for, I don't know, a good 3-4 months. This was in 2002. And back then, it was in the early days. No one was ripping everybody off. And so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to introduce the first person, or the first character in this story. His name is Dan. Now, Dan, I've known him since 7th grade. I met him, that would have been back in 1978, Saturday afternoon bowling at the bowling alley. After bowling, we went out back and smoked some marijuana. And so we were friends ever since. And now he's got a family, he's got 3 kids, and blah, blah, blah. So, and he's a pretty straight shooter. He really likes his meth. And his wife doesn't like meth. And she is usually pissed all the time if ever she finds any on him. But anyways, okay, so he started getting it from the boss. And I never met his boss. I know his name was Val. And he told me he was one of the smartest guys he's ever seen. And really good with engines. And he worked on snowmobiles in his garage. He had a big shop, so he worked on antique vintage snowmobiles. And I had a couple of vintage snowmobiles at the time, so we went to the antique snowmobile run, and I met Val. He's a big guy. He, his phone was ringing off the hook. This is like when I first got started. So, what he would do is Val would go down. He would travel about an hour away to get the meth, and basically it was called fluff back then. And how he would make money is he would just go down and get it, and he'd get like 2 ounces, and he would throw like 5 grams of cut into it, and so he was basically guaranteeing himself $500 for making the trip. That's how he did it. That's how he figured was the best way for him to make money, I guess. I don't know. To me, it seemed kind of weird to put cut in it when, why put cut in anything is what I say. And then he would bring it back to town. He'd bring it back to town, and he would just sell it all right away, keep enough for himself, and then he would do it a couple days later, run down the cities, do it again, and do it again and again and again. So this went on, and so that's how we were getting our meth, and it was consistent. It was safe, and there was no worries or risk involved. Everybody got their meth. It was easy. So this went on, and so he was a plumber, and what I was doing at this time was I was working at a window shop. I had been there 14 years, and I was in charge of one department, and we were putting a lot of parts onto the windows, and I had like 3 people under me, but it was a constant turnover of people, and so I would get new people under me all the time. And one time there was a new girl that started. She was a woman. She's about 23 years old. No, maybe she was a little older. She was maybe 27 years old. She already had 5 kids. She was half Korean. She wasn't half bad looking. She had huge tits, but Koreans ain't that good looking. But so anyways, she was put into my department, and she was all right. She got the work done, but she was a little flaky. I really didn't know why. I didn't really care. It was just hard to find good help. So she was coming to work, and we got talking. I got to know her. She had 5 kids. She was engaged. She had a fiance, and she had a kid with her fiance. And so anyways, I'm telling you about her because there's something that's coming that's a shocker, and you'll see. Anyways, so then the next day, Dan tells me that there's this other guy involved. His name is Tom, and he tells me his last name, and I go, Tom, I know him. I didn't go to grade school with him. I didn't go to high school with him, but I worked with him at a restaurant when I was in high school. I said, he's a fucking plumber. Oh my God, he's the craziest motherfucker I ever seen. And he's going, what do you mean? And I'll tell you, this guy, when we were working at the restaurant, when you the first one there gets to go first, right after the rush, and then if you start later, like at 5:30, then you have to close the restaurant, which means you got to mop all the floors, clean everything, and you're basically the last one out. So one Friday night back in high school, I'm working, I'm doing dishes, and I'm the first guy off because I came at 4, and he came up to me and he says, hey, will you close for me and let me go early? I said, no fucking way. There's a big party going on, and I'm first one off. I'm going to the party. And he's going, fuck you. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, I'm going to go there first. I'm going to be there before you. I said, how do you figure? He grabs a fucking steak knife, and cuts his fucking finger wide open. And he says, I'll be out of the hospital, out of the emergency room in an hour and a half. And away he went. And that was one crazy motherfucker. So now he's a plumber with my buddy Dan and Val. I'm going, holy fuck, this is weird. So, so I kind of had my doubts about the whole deal with Tom involved. So I go to work, and we continue to get the meth, and I'm selling it or smoking it or whatever. So I go to work, and Jeanette is getting a little bit flakier. And that's her name, Jeanette. And she's getting a little flakier, and I really don't know why. I just figure she might have some kind of a mental problem. I don't know, but she shows up every day, whatever. So then one day, my boss comes up to me and says, Jeanette? I go, yeah. He goes, Jeanette just came up to me and said that you are sabotaging her work. I said, what? I said to him, what the fuck you talking about? She said that that the parts that were missing on the final product were because I took them out and I was fucking with her or something. I said, oh my God, really? So I just thought, I don't know what the fuck her problem is, right? So then she starts talking about her fiance and that they have this kid together and they're going to get married, and his name is Val, but it didn't register at all. And my buddy Dan, he's telling me that his boss has one kid. So that fact, it didn't click with me. So anyways, next thing you know, Dan comes over and he says that he can't get any meth. He can't. I go, why not? Some fucking deal with Tommy and Val. I don't know what's going on, but Tommy, he fucking quit his job. I'm going, well, what the fuck? So what, So I said, who gives a fuck? Val's the guy. Can he get any more meth or what? And he said, well, the thing is that he caught Tom screwing around with his wife, Jeanette. And I'm like, who? His wife's, the chick he's going to get married to, Jeanette. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Turns out, yep, the chick that is working for me is Val's fiance, and she is cheating on him with Tom. So I'm thinking, holy fuck, now I'm really worried about my job, I wonder if she knows that I'm connected up with them or whatever, and so all of a sudden it just got really fucking fast, right? So I'm thinking, holy fuck. And she comes to work again, and I don't really know what to say, and I'm wondering if she knows. Pretty soon I'm getting paranoid, and all this shit is just getting a little bit out of control. So then after work, I go home, I call Dan, and I say, Dan, what the fuck's going on? Is Val at work? And he says, no, he called in sick. I said, okay, so what's going on? Well, he's at home with all 5 kids, and she just left him. I'm like going, holy shit. So I go back to work the next day, and she comes into work. She's really fucking pissed or worried about something. I don't know. She's there for 2 hours, and then she takes off. And then I talked to Dan that next night, and he said that he talked to Val because, like everything else, everybody's phone is ringing off the hook and shit like that. So he calls Val, and Val said that Tommy and her ran away. They don't know where she's at. She left her 5 kids. You see, and that's what meth does to a lot of women with kids. They just get up and leave. And this is when shit like this started happening, and that's when the police and the public was starting to become aware of all this crazy shit that was just starting, which led to them taking the Sudafed off the shelves. So I go to work. Jeanette never showed up, and the boss isn't looking at me funny, so everything's cool. Everything's cool, and so I go home. And Dan stops in. He's all worried. He's worried about the same shit. He's wondering if he's going to get roped into something, or his wife's going to find out, because his wife wants to leave, get a new house out of town. She's sick of this shit, and and this is way in the early days. So a couple days go by, and I talked to him again. I said, "Hey, have you heard from Val?" "Yeah, he's in jail, and he's probably going to be in prison for a long fucking time." I said, "Why?" "Well, he found out where Tommy and Jeanette were. They were living in a tent at down by the river somewhere, and he went and got a 5-gallon gas can full of gas, and in the middle of the night when they were sleeping in the tent, he went and dumped the whole fucking thing on the tent and lit it on fire. They didn't get hurt, but he got hauled away, and he's probably going to be in prison for a long fucking time." So what happened to Dan? Dan moved away. According to his wife, and I quote, "We're getting the fuck away from this tweaker town." Dan quit doing meth, but his son and daughter are in and out of treatment continuously, and his wife is still pissed. Val, he went to prison for 4 years. I ran into him since he's been out. He weighs about 450 pounds now, and he's on disability. Not doing much. He lost everything. He was one of the best, smartest plumbers around, and he pissed all that away because of meth. Jeanette, she's homeless. She lost all 5 kids to foster care. The last time I seen her, she didn't even recognize my name. And what about old Tommy? Can't forget about Tommy. He overdosed on heroin 7 years ago. And not a happy ending on this one. Tommy, he was one crazy fucker, man. That one, this story is a little dark, but so if you have any other questions for me, or there's a topic you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. And remember that meth is not a drug you want to fuck with. The success rate for staying clean from meth for 3 years after getting clean is 5%. Thanks for listening. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. This story, I'll admit, was pretty dark, so my next story, I promise, will make you laugh and smile. Peace out.